They call it the Yowie, a towering thing of muscle and matted fur, red eyes that glow in the dark, feet like shovels, breath like rotting meat. And it's out there, in the wildest corners of Australia. But if you ask the locals around Hobart, they'll tell you Tasmania has its own Yowie, one that doesn't just hide, it hunts. The old-timers call it the mountain stalker. They say it lives deep in the ranges beyond Mount Wellington, in the thick, rain-drenched bush, where the trees never stop creaking and the fog never lifts. No trails go there, no signs, just endless green, steep ridges and shadows that stretch too long. They say the mountain stalker doesn't fear man, it waits. And when you're lost, alone, off track, or bleeding, it comes. And once you see it, it's already too late. In 2018, a group of 4 hikers set out from the Fern Tree Trailhead for an overnight trek across the Wellington Ranges. 3 men, 1 woman, all experienced bushwalkers. They signed in at the logbook, never signed out. Their bodies were never found, but their tent was. It had been shredded, not cut, with massive tears. Their gear was scattered in all directions, as if something exploded outward from the center. The strangest part? The tent was still zipped shut. Inside, blood soaked the nylon floor. But there were no footprints, no signs of a struggle, and hanging from a nearby branch, 7 feet off the ground, was a scrap of red fabric. It looked like it had been chewed. Rangers don't talk about it much, but if you buy them a beer at the right pub, they might tell you what they've seen. Shapes, massive, moving between the trees, branches cracking far too high to be a wallaby, silence falling before dark, deer carcasses found half-eaten and hung in trees, and then there's the smell. Every report mentions it, the stench of old blood and wet fur, a smell that hits before the thing ever arrives. One ranger quit after he found a set of footprints in the mud. Each one was the length of his forearm, and they led straight into the fog, then vanished. There's a cabin out there, built in the 60s by a hermit named Clive Downey. He lived there for years alone, by choice, until he walked out of the bush in 1982, naked, rambling, shaking. He never returned. They found the cabin weeks later. The walls were covered in carvings, thousands of them, overlapping lines and jagged shapes. One phrase repeated over and over: "It comes when you're weak." They say his diary was full of drawings, of a face, not quite human, not quite ape, something in between. In 2021, a wildlife researcher named Hannah Briggs went out to track Tasmanian devils with motion sensor cameras. She placed 6 cameras along the high ridges northwest of Wellington Park. 5 came back normal. The 6th was found snapped in half, its footage corrupted, except for one frame, a tall figure, blurry, massive, with glowing eyes. Mid-stride, the camera had been mounted 10 feet off the ground. She quit her job the next day. Locals say the mountain stalker doesn't come down to the towns, usually, but sometimes, late at night, around Margate or Leslie Vale, dogs go missing. Fences are broken, and something howls in the hills, a sound that isn't a dog, or a devil, or anything else that should be alive. A deep, growling scream that seems to echo inside your chest. One man claims he saw it while driving at night along a dirt track near Pelverata. He said a figure stepped in front of his car, hair down to its knees, arms like fence posts, yellow teeth. It looked right at him, then vanished into the bush in 2 strides. He doesn't drive at night anymore. And then there's the backpacker. In 2019, a German traveler named Felix Heinrich went solo hiking near Mount Dromedary. He never came back. Police found his camp, everything intact, except his boots. They were sitting neatly beside the fire pit. No tracks, No signs of struggle, but his GoPro was still on. They played the footage. He was cooking, talking, laughing. Then he froze, turned toward the trees, said something in German, translated roughly to, "What is that?" Then the camera fell. Just the sound of heavy breathing, followed by footsteps. Something massive. The video ends with a scream and the sound of cracking bones. They say the mountain stalker can smell blood, can hear weakness, that it doesn't just kill, it plays, stalks you for days, makes you see shapes that aren't there, mimics voices, lures you deeper, until you're too far to turn back, too lost to be saved. And then, when you finally understand what's happening, that's when it steps out of the trees, and you know, you were never alone. There's a legend whispered among the Aboriginal communities of southern Tasmania. A creature of the bush, spirit of the old world, punisher of trespassers, guardian of ancient land. Some say the Yowie is just an animal, but the elders say it's something else. Something that never died when the white men came. Something that remembers, and watches, and waits. They say if you hear the trees go quiet if the wind stops, and the birds flee, and the fog creeps low around your legs, turn back, don't run. Just leave. Because if the mountain stalker sees you, you won't see anything again.
There's a shadow in the hallway and a voice beneath the floor. I lock the doors, I hold my breath, but it's closer than before. A cold wind in the mirror, footsteps on the stairs. I feel it watching silently, but nothing's ever there.